Aloha everybody and welcome back to part 2 of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. And now we've been thrust right into the action. Now we're taking on some baddies, including some mechanical dollies and dog demon heads that are trying to take a bite out of me. So those are odd enemy types. Unlike the Super Nintendo game, we're not usually battling people in the towns themselves. It's only until you leave the towns that you start encountering some resistance. But yeah, we got some baddies. They like to drop two things. They'll either drop dumplings, which will refill one of your hearts, or they'll drop Rio, aka money, which you can use to spend in shops and stuff. But they don't always drop something like they did in the Super Nintendo game. Sometimes you blow them up and nothing happens. They don't drop anything. But enemies do respawn. It's almost like an RPG where like you'll just be like walking around and then poof, a big puff of smoke happens and they just appear right in front of you. There will never be empty areas. The enemies will always constantly respawn, so don't think you need to kill everybody for something to happen. Unless it's a dungeon. Because those operate a little differently. Have you heard the latest on the dancer called Impact? Apparently he's now a big star in the US. Next he's going to be in a movie. He's a model of the American dream. Oh, we're gonna see Impact, don't you worry. We're gonna see Impact. How would you like a map of Japan to assist you on your voyage? I'll sell it to you for a discount. How about it? Yes, I really want it. Awesome! I like the way you said that. The enthusiasm. I like people like you. Here, you can have it. No charge. Alright, we'll call this a present to you. So yeah, we got a map of Japan now. It's not particularly necessary. I don't need it. But, you know, it's something that will help me track where I am in relation to everything else. Because again, we started off in Oedo Town, where, you know, the royal lord of Japan, the ruler of Japan lives. And now we've gone to Kai Highway, which is next by, and we're on our way to Mount Fuji. So we got this big, nice map of Japan here. Just to reiterate, at the beginning of the game, a UFO showed up to Oedo Town, and it blasted the castle and transformed it into a European castle, and that's shocking and crazy. So Goemon needs to rescue Princess Yuki and the Lord of Japan, but unfortunately he can't get to the castle because the bridge is out. And the only way to get across the bridge is to utilize the star blocks that are placed throughout. Now, the only way I can interact with the star blocks is if I find a special pipe made by a special pipe maker named Mokube, but unfortunately, Mokube left Goemon's tenements. He was my neighbor once upon a time, and now he's gone to Mount Fuji, and this is where I'm heading to visit Mokube. There's really nowhere else you can go at this point in the game, because the only other exit from Oedo Town is blocked off. Like, the only way you can get through it is with the Lord's Pass, but I need to see the Lord in order to get that pass. So the only place I can really, realistically go is the Kai Highway and Mount Fuji. So, you know, even if you're not talking to all the NPCs, even if you're not talking to all the villagers, by process of elimination, I might as well go this way, right? And there's a fortune doll. There's a fortune cat. Oh yeah. Like I said last part, if you collect 4 of those, your health will increase by 1 heart. I have 5 hearts. If I get 3 more fortune cats, I will have 6 hearts. Booyah, booyah. Don't fall in the water, by the way. There's nothing down there. There's nothing down there. You're just gonna have to swim for a very, very, very long time until you get back to where the shore is. So it's a big dive, and you don't want to go down there. Nothing down there. You got the green mechanical dolls with their presents. They shoot bullets at you, but they actually aim for where you are. So sometimes you try to jump beforehand, and they'll actually shoot in the sky where you are jumping. So I would recommend just like waiting for them to shoot, and then you take a left, then you jump, then you take a right, because they're always going to be aiming for where you are specifically. But now here we are at the biggest mountain, Mount Fuji. I'll be honest, I expected it to be a lot bigger. But it is a video game and we have to consider pacing. We don't want this to be Death Stranding or something, okay? It was 1998. It was a different time. But yeah. Now we got some weird scarecrow things that shoot bullets as well. They shoot them in twos, which are pretty easy to dodge. They don't aim for you. You can jump over them, no problem. And there's this big, big distance between shots. Like, you actually have to wait until they shoot out the next set of bullets. So if you jump over one set, you got plenty of time to take out the scarecrow, and then you'll be hunky-dory. I assume it's a scarecrow. For all I know, it's just a training dummy or some kind of target practice dummy. I don't know. Whatever. Semantics. You know. There's a lot of boulders falling off of the mountain, but if you actually attack the boulders, you can destroy them in one hit, and they even drop cash and stuff as well. So if you feel like you're about to get hit, if you feel like it's rolling towards you, you can whack it, and you'll be safe. Don't worry. That pipe is really strong. Goemon's pipe is ridiculously strong. He is the mystical ninja, after all. I just picked up a golden dumpling at the bottom. The golden dumpling is a full refill. Even if you have like 1 heart out of 20, the golden dumpling will refill that entire health bar. So it's a very rare item. It only shows up in a few select areas of the game, and it respawns when I come back to Mount Fuji, so it's not gone forever, but you know, it's just sometimes you find regular dumplings, which are just 1 heart, and then you find the golden dumplings, and oh my god, that was a full heal. Holy shit. So you may have noticed I actually got a good view of Mount Fuji. I got a good view of the bottom of this gaping hole that is inside Mount Fuji. I gotta talk about the camera control because some players might not know that you can actually manipulate the camera if you don't have the instruction manual. And because this is the N64, because this is early 3D gaming, because this is 1998, you gotta remember that they had a lot of limitations with what they could do. We don't have a second analog stick for a camera. So the N64 controller was always weird and bad. I can play it just fine, but let's be honest, it wasn't that great of a controller because it was 3 handles, right? The left handle was what you used to operate the D-pad. The middle handle was what you used to operate the control stick. But the thing was, if you were using the control stick, you couldn't reach the D-pad, so there's no reason to be touching that 3rd handle. There's no reason to be touching the left handle. And so you're kind of limited option-wise, like unless you want to let go of the middle handle and then move your thumb over to the left to input some kind of button commands or something, you know. How often am I going to let go of those handles, you know what I mean? The C buttons actually do a whole bunch of things, like bottom C transforms your character, left C changes your weapon types, so you can go from the pipe to the money. You know, the right C button, like, pulls up the map. Well, actually, I'll get back to that. This is Mocha Bay. Wow, I'm impressed you made it this far. What do you want from me? What are you doing here? I have come to the greatest mountain in Japan so that I could train to become the greatest worker in Japan. Well, I appreciate the work ethic. It's impressive. Do you have a good pipe? Pipe? Let me think. Well, let's see. Yes, I know. Take this. I'm honored to hand you my pipe. It attaches to the block with the star mark. Yeah! With this, it is now possible to attach to the star mark blocks and cross large gaps. Hell yeah. Train yourself well, until the girls cheer for you saying, "Oh my, that pipe you have is so fashionable." I like this guy's animation. His entire body is still, except for his left arm, which is just dipping up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like... Either way, folks, yeah, I got a long pipe. I got the chain pipe. So it might remind you of the Yokohama Yo-Yo from the Super Nintendo game. It does have more reach. You can't lose it if you ever take damage. It is a permanent weapon that you will always have. And speaking of damage, I gotta get back down, right? Well, let's just jump off. Jesus, I can't believe I hit that. No fall damage in Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. You can jump from the biggest heights and you will not take any damage whatsoever. And you might think, considering other 64 titles like Super Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, that maybe fall damage would be a thing, but no. Goemon has calves of steel. He is absolutely fine. Nothing breaks his shins. He is going to be hunky-dory. You can use the chain pipe to attack enemies and defeat them, but the thing is, you have a very long wind-up delay period after it happens. Like, you have to wait for the chain to come back to you. And if you miss, which is very easy to do in a 3D, you know, platformer, a 3D beat-em-up, And then it gives them a chance to attack you, it gives them a chance to hit you while you're waiting for the chain to come back. So I sometimes still use the regular pipe. I'm only showing off the chain pipe right now because, you know, we just got it. Might as well, might as well. But, yeah, it's just worth mentioning. The chain pipe's not my go-to weapon, but at least I can go back to the regular weapon whenever I want. So now that we got the chain pipe, let's go to Oedo Castle and actually use the star mark. But as I was saying about the camera, bottom C transforms your character, left C changes your weapon, right C actually pulls up the map so you can see where you are in relation to everything else. What's the camera button? Because we don't seem to have enough buttons to do anything with. If you hold the R button down and then touch the C buttons, C down, C left, C right, C up, then you can change the camera around. So holding R and pushing C down will actually pull the camera back. Holding R and pushing C up will make the camera zoom in close. So yeah. And there you go, folks. There's the chain rod, the chain pipe in action. Now I see a fortune. It's always the worst when you screw up jumps in a platformer, because then you gotta go all the way back and climb up that thing all over again. So it's like, thank God there are ledges here. Thank God I didn't have to swim to another area just to get back here, but one thing I like to do with the chain pipe, because it takes too long otherwise, you gotta be so specific, I just jump and then use the attack, and it almost always automatically connects to the star blocks. Like, honestly, the lock-on with the chain pipe is so freaking good. And it also makes the gameplay a lot more thrilling. It makes the gameplay a lot more exciting. Because anytime I see a big gap, anytime I see star blocks, I just go, jump for it, swing the pipe, and then boom. I make it, and I feel like a badass. Watch this. Perfect! The lock-on is amazing. If you're gonna use the chain pipe with star blocks, do it in the middle of a jump. I promise you, it is not as scary as it looks. It works almost 90% of the time. Unless your angle is so terrible, it will definitely work. But yeah, I love it. I love it. How often in a platformer do you just like, jump and then swing and connect to something? Again, I've always thought one of the most underrated elements of any video game is like rope swinging. Any kind of like rope swinging, any kind of like grapple hook kind of mechanic. I feel like those need to be in more video games because they could be so damn fun when used properly. It's just the best thing in the world. It's the best thing in the world, you know. But anywho, folks, we're here. We're at Oedo Castle, home to the Lord of Japan and Princess Yuki. And we're going to go into this castle, the first dungeon of the game, in part 3. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. Till then.